Okay, the recording started. So basically, now we are trying to write the 256 MB of data into this Hadoop cluster. Okay, for us, like on a single machine, it would be just like copying the data from hard disk or some other source into our hard disk of laptop. This is what actually we are trying to do here. Okay, just assume that all this 4 node is an independent cluster running as Hadoop distributed file system, and the client is completely separate, having the data, and the client wants to write the data into this file system. The first thing that it will do is it will communicate with Hadoop. It will communicate with name node. Okay, when I say Hadoop fs minus put, I mean there is a command to copy the data from external world into the Hadoop distributed file system. So client will first communicate. That is Hadoop client. Okay, that can understand the language in which name node can give the response. Okay, so Hadoop client will talk to the name node first, and then it will be kind of handshake between these two guys, client and name node, and client will say hi, hello name node, how are you, and whatever. So now client will tell name node that I'm going to write, or I want to write this data.test that I'm having currently with me, I want to write it in your cluster. So name node say okay, not a problem. So name node will tell certain information to client. Okay, and that information would be that basically it will first tell that what is my current block size in which I want your file to be splitted. Okay, so name node will reply to the client with the block size of the node, that is the default block size of the HDFS file system. So first information will give the block size. Second information, it will give the available list of data nodes where the data can be written. Okay, available list of data node. Now here there are 4 data nodes available: data node 1, data node 2, data node 3, and data node 4. How do name node will know that which of these data nodes are available? Okay, first of all, it should know, because since they're all connected over the network, okay, they are not the part of same machine, they are all completely independent machines. So it means that they are connected over the network, and it means that if name node wants to know that which of the available data nodes are working, or at least in the healthy status, it should be knowing that which all of them are alive. Okay, so how do the data node will tell the name node that I am alive and you can use me for store the data? That is the first question that should come in the mind. Okay, so there is one mechanism called heartbeat mechanism. Heartbeat mechanism. And what heartbeat mechanism under this mechanism, basically every data node, okay, will send a ping signal to name node in every 3 second. Every 3 second. Okay, so it means that if you come back to this picture, all these data node dn1, dn2, dn3, dn4, they are going to send a ping. Okay, and ping with certain more information I will tell you later, but basically just to let the name node know, because since they are over the network, okay, they are not the part of the same machine, and only the network communication is in between them. It means that they need to, you know, they need to keep signaling the name node every certain point in time, basically, so that name node will be always aware that okay, these data nodes are available and they are alive, they are in healthy status, and they can be used to store the data. Okay, so this is one of the use of the network between these guys. So all these data node 1, 2, 3, and 4 keeps pinging the name node every 3 seconds. That is the default. Again, when I say 3 seconds, it is a property that you can set, you can change, but then by default it is 3 seconds. Okay, and let it be. I mean, no administrator being an administrator, you will not change it. So that's what actually being practiced and come up with that particular standard value. Okay, again, you can make it 1 second, or you can make it 1 minute, or whatever. Okay, 3 seconds is the ideal value. So every 3 seconds, data node 1 pings name node, data node 2 pings name node. Okay, and they can ping the name node simultaneously. So this is first thing. Now name node knows that which are the available data nodes, those are healthy in condition, and those are able to host the data. Okay, so what it will do is it will create a pipeline, and this pipeline can be considered as data queue. Okay, data queue in S-frontend. Okay, not exactly similar, but similar to that. Not exactly identical. What I am trying to say, not exactly identical, but similar to that. It's a concept like create a pipeline. Pipeline is nothing but it's like a virtual thing, and it would be a kind of queue only, in which name node will place the names of data nodes which are available for writing. Okay, how does name node know? Because it gets heart beating from all the data nodes, and it knows that which is complete, which is free, which is busy, how many, how much, apart from with the pings also, like this data node also sends some statistics about how much hard disk is left, how much RAM is left, how much CPU cores. So that kind of hardware capability also being sent to the name node. I mean, name node is completely aware about the availability of data nodes and their processing, or what is the space limitation or space available on each of the data nodes. So everything is known to name node, being a master. Okay, now here you will try to understand that why the name is master given to the name node, because it knows most of the things about cluster. Okay, so data node 1, data node 2, data node 3, data node 4. Let's say first thing what I said is the block size. So 128 MB of block size it will send as an information to client, and it will also provide the list of data nodes that are those are available to write each block. So data node 1, let's say data node 2 and data node 4. Okay, so let's say it has given this list of 3 data nodes. Why 3? Because our replication factor of 3, it means that block will be stored on 3 different data nodes. Then only it will be said to be the fault tolerant. Otherwise we cannot save all the copies of block on the same data node. Otherwise, if the data node goes off, there is all the 3 copies we will lose, right? So to prepare or to place the copies, always we should choose the different data node where the copy is not already existing. Okay, so with time you'll understand this completely. So there are 2 things: block size 128 MB and the list of data nodes where the blocks can be written. Now name node will send this information back to client. Now this information is with client now. Okay, now client has got that the block size is 128 MB and the available list of data nodes is for DN1, DN2 and DN4. And this list of data nodes will be given to client for each and separate block. Okay, it is each individual block. Okay, so what client will do is, since it knows the block size of name node, it will split its data.txt into that many blocks. Okay, that will cover up the 128 MB block size. So how does it know? Client knows that okay, 128 MB of sorry. Client knows that 128 MB of block size is there for cluster. What it will do is it will split this 256 MB in block 1 and block 2.
I know, I'm sorry. Just posted a question.
1 second. Yeah, go ahead.
When out of 4, if 3 data nodes are not healthy at a certain point of time, then what we will do?
Okay, so you are saying that out of 4, if 3 data nodes are not healthy, or they are like completely filled up, or they are not sending the heartbeat.
When
Yes.
suppose 2 are healthy, 2 are not healthy, then how we
So whatever is healthy will be given to the client in order to write the things. We cannot stop client to write the data into cluster. Okay, later on name node will manage. Is
but our application factor equal to 3 will not be.
Yeah, that's what actually. Yeah. So it will not be reached to replication factor of 3, but definitely over the time when the things gets cleared, I mean when the data nodes are getting healthier, the replication factor will be reached. So that's what actually the master will manage. So name node will manage the replication factor 3 of blocks. It does not promise you, but it will always keep trying to give you the replication factor of 3. But it does not promise in the sense that you will not find all the blocks replication factor to be 3 always, due to this kind of problems that what you said. So out of 4, if 2 is not working, go ahead.
But anyways, like the data will be written,
Yes.
and over the time it will replicate,
Correct.
and it will be
Correct.
It will meet audit conditions.
Correct. You are going in right direction. Okay, so that's what I mean. Once I will complete, you will get that complete picture that how this all things is done, right? So okay, so let me just complete, and then you can ask your questions if I did not cover that. Okay, so it's 9 minutes. So what now the client knows the block size of cluster, that is 128 MB, and it knows that okay, so 256 MB cannot be sent in one shot. So what it will do is it will create 2 blocks of 256 MB 128 MB each. So block 1 BLK1 would be 128 MB and BLK2 would be 128 MB. Okay. So the first block will be started writing into the cluster. Now client, what it will do is basically it does get all the information from name node. Okay. Now it will not go back again to the name node. Since it has communicated to name node has provided the block size information and the list of data nodes where the client can start writing the data into. So what will happen is it will start writing the block 1. Okay, BLK1. So I just write BLK1 because every block will have the unique identifier associated with it, just like the normal file system. So BLK1 is of 128 MB of size. Okay, now what it will do is basically client will scan the pipeline that is created and it will just try to see that out of data node 1, data node 2 and data node 4 which is nearer to it or which is more nearer to the client network wise. Okay, because just say network wise means suppose if you are trying, if the client try to ping DN1 then DN2 and then DN3 and DN4 and try to see that whose response will be reached first to the client will consider that particular machine to be the nearest to it and then it will pick that machine out of this pipeline in order to write the first copy of block 1. So let's say we are seeing that the data node 1 is the nearer to client 1. What the client will do, it will start writing the data into, let me just change the color for this. It will give the first copy of block 1 over here. So I will say BLK1. BLK1 has come here. Okay, now the first copy of block 1 got written into data node 1. Now it is internal to data node 1 in order. Now the client once, so this particular first copy once gets written, this particular transaction is marked successful. Okay, now client does not even take care whether this block 1 is getting replicated thrice or whatever internally it does not care. Once it has provided the block 1 copy to the data node 1, client is happy and it will consider that this particular transaction is successful and it should get its data back whenever it try to read the file data.txt from this particular Hadoop distributed file system. Okay, so what will happen then, this data node 1 scans the pipeline that is over here. So it says that okay, data node 1 I'm already done. So once this particular data node 1 is done, it will be removed from here and then the remaining data node would be there. So this data node 1 scan this pipeline and say okay, the next host of this block 1 would be data node 2. So what it will do is it will just forward a copy of this block 1 into data node 2. So BLK1 copy also has come over here on the data node 2. Then data node 1 is over. Data node 2 sees that okay, this file I have got this file, just scan this data node 4 and just scan the pipeline again. If there is one more data node remaining, it will just forward that this copy of block 1 into data node 4. Okay, so BLK1 also comes over here. Okay, now we got the replication factor 3 for this BLK1. You know? Now but this block 1, since these data nodes are dumb, they don't know anything about this block 1. I mean, they never know that this block 1 is corresponding to data.txt. So where it would be managed? Again, so the mastermind behind it is the name node itself. So what it will do is it is having one mapping file and to which we are saying FS image, file system image. Just like the inode map of regular file system, there is a FS image or file system image with the name node where it will create a mapping between the data.txt and its associated blocks. So as soon as the block 1 gets written, it would have an entry data.txt and it is associated with block 1. Okay, so this FS image, this is now is called FS image, IMAGE, called file system image, right? So data.txt entry dot created for block 1 and block 1 is now written into the cluster with successful 3 replication factor, wherein we have block 1's replication factor properly achieved with 3. So block 1 is done over here. Now next comes block 2. For block 2, again client will get the new list of data nodes. Okay, so once this pipeline, because this data node is also gone out of the pipeline, so I'm just clearing it. name node will now give the list of 3 available data node at that point, because writing the block 1 will take some time. By that time, the conditions of data nodes might change. Some might, who were busy might be free, who were free might be busy. Okay, so again, name node cannot choose again the same list of data node for the block 2 also. Okay, it cannot do that. Why? Because by the time the block 1 get written, the conditions get changed of the cluster, and the free becomes busy and busy becomes free. So name node again scans the heartbeat from the data node and try to understand that at this point of time, while client wants to write the block 2 of that data.txt, which of these data nodes are free. So let's say this time they pick data node 2, data node 3, and data node 4. Okay, now again the same process will repeat. Client will already have splitted this block 2 in block 1 and block 2, and this block 1 and block 2 will be actually given to the client, that because the ID will be decided by the name node. Okay, so there is a hexadecimal unique identifier associated with every block that will be decided by the name node, and it is a kind of a running number. So whenever any client comes basically and it splits the file, the identifier would be supplied by the name node to the client, and then he will just write with that identifier. Like so block 1, the block 1 naming would be given by the name node only. Okay, client cannot decide on its own. So all this information will be given to the client by name node. Now what client will do is, now it is a block 2 that is now going to be written again. So nearest is one data node 2, right? So data node 2, data node 3, and data node 4 in the pipeline basically. So data node 2 would be the nearest to the client, and what it will do is it will again forward this copy of the block 2 over here, BLK2, right? And again, once this block gets written for the first time, client will be happy and it will just mark the transaction to be successful, and it does not care about the further replication of the things. Now what will happen? This DN2 would be released, and then it will forward a copy over here, BLK2, and again it will be forwarded over here, BLK2, right? And then one more entry will be written over here, BLK2, that is corresponding to data.txt, right? So this is the writing process, and once everything will be done, basically this particular pipeline will be clear, because now we are very good with the file writing process. Now data.txt is written into your Hadoop distributed file system with the help of this name node and data node. Okay, now name node will completely send the heartbeat. Now what will happen is, basically, let's say this data node died. Okay, it is out of network, it is out of order, whatever you say. Let me stop the recording and start the new one. So it's still time. Okay, so now here your concerns come, basically what will happen to the replication factor of block 1, because if the data node has gone, the block 1 will be down to the replication factor of 2. Okay, because still we do not have the ample copy to be to be more fault tolerant. So first thing that I said you is the heartbeat that every data node will send to the name node. The second information that would be sent from the data node to name node is called block report, BLOCK, block report. And every 10th heartbeat would be a block report. It means every data node will send to name node a block report every 30 seconds. Because every 10th heartbeat or every 30 seconds, they are same meaning. I will say every 10th heartbeat or every 30 seconds. They are same meaning, because if you say 10 every 3 seconds a heartbeat, or 10 heartbeat means 30 seconds. So either 30 seconds or 10th heartbeat, a block report. What this block report will have? It is just the report of blocks that particular data node is having. Okay, it means that all these data node will keep sending that. Okay, so on every 10th heartbeat or every 30 seconds, data node 2 will tell the name node that I'm having block 1 and block 2. I don't know which file it is associated with, but I know the identifier, that is block 1 and block 2. That's it. Data node 3 will send the name node the block report as block 2. I'm having block 2, I'm having block 2, I'm having block 2 every 30 seconds. Similarly, data node 4 also will tell name node that I'm having block 1 and block 2, block 1 and block 2, block 1 and block 2 every 30 seconds. Okay, so name node at any point in time will be able to reconstruct the information out of this file system. How come? Because data.txt, it knows that block 1 and block 2 it is having. That is with FS that is with name node itself, because file system image is residing with name node itself, and name node knows that which particular which particular file is having how many blocks, what are the names of the blocks for that particular file, and where now those blocks are present in the available data nodes. The second thing also, it is known through the block report. Okay, so suppose if name node scans data.txt, it says okay, block 1 and block 2 is associated with data.txt, and now when it scans the block reports sent by the data nodes to the name node, it can easily scan that okay, block 1 is available on data node 2 and data node 4 and data node 1 also. So it was sending some time back, but now it stopped sending the heartbeat because it is now out of order. Okay, and then for block 2 also, it knows that okay, block 2 is present on data node 2, data node 3 and data node 4, because it can scan the block report sent by the data node. So at any point in time, it can reconstruct the whole file system, okay, depending on that where the blocks are physically present, and that block is associated with which file, because since the block is uniquely identified, okay, because if we cannot give the duplicate number to different blocks, why? Otherwise the name node gets confused that okay, two data nodes are sending the same block ID, but the data in those are completely different. It means that name node itself can get confused. Okay, so no two blocks will ever have the same identical unique identifier. Okay, so that's why now it is understood that no blocks, no matter it is billions block, because there could be millions and billions of blocks in Hadoop distributed file system it can support, but none two of them can ever have the same identifier associated. Okay, so it should be all of unique identifier association. Okay, now our concern is that let's say data node 1 goes off. Okay, so now data node 1 is killed or some process might stop, and data node 1 is completely out of network, out of order. Now what will happen? Immediately name node will come to know that the block 1 replication factor is 2. Why? Because when it scans the block report, it sees that only 2 data node reports the block 1. Which data nodes? Data node 2 because it is having block 1 copy, and data node 4 that is having block 1 copy. Then it will assume that oh my god, the replication factor of block 1 is not 3. Any question?
Not yet. For next gen, right?
Hello?
We need to wait.
Hello? Any question? Anil, are you there on the call?
Mehman, this is Eklavya. I don't have any question. I believe there's someone new came in named by caller 3.
Yeah, that's what actually I am able to see, but I'm not able to. Okay, I'm just muting him. Okay, so what will happen? Basically, this block 1 copy or the block 1 replication factor is now minimum 2, or gets down to 2, because that's how the name node sees it, because it does not receive any further signals from data node 1, and now what it will check basically, since block 1 copies get down to 2, it will try to replicate it, and it will try to now name node will actually actively try to manage the replication factor of block 1 to 3. Okay, block 1 from 2 to 3. So basically what it will do is it will now know that the block 1 copy is with data node 2 and data node 4 now, as of now. Okay, because data node 1 is now stopped signaling to name node. So what it will do is it will ask either data node 2 or data node 4 to just forward 1 copy of block 1 to data node 3. So either data node 2 or data node 4 will do that. So let's say I'm saying that data node 4 will do, and BLK2 copy will have BLK1 copy has come over here. Okay, and now again when data node 3 stops and when data node 3 starts sending the block report, or then from the next block report, basically name node will definitely see that the block 1 again, the block 1 copy or the block 1 replication factor is again reached to 3, right? So if you see that now the block 1 is hosted on data node 2, data node 3 and data node 4. Okay, so name node is happy now. But let's say what happens that this particular data node 1 was a glitch kind of thing. I mean, it was just down for a few minutes. By then it has already replicated the things. What it will do is now it will start sending the ping signal to data node, to name node. and name node says, oh my god, data node has come again, and then it starts sending the block report from data node 1, and then block 1 is also getting sent as a block report, right? So it means now the replication factor, while I mean it was to be 3, but now it is 4, right? So replication factor for block 1 is now 4. What will happen now? Again, so name node will again come in action and ask any of this data node to delete its extra copy of block 1. So let's say it asks data node 2 that please delete the copy of block 1, so it will just be deleted. Okay, and again you will back to the replication factor of 3 for this block 1. Now this is how actually it is managed. So this is how actually it will be fault tolerant. So you should not be over copy the things, and you should not be under copy the thing. So this could happen that it does not promise you that all the times you will find the replication factor 3 of all the blocks, but it will try to keep the replication factor of 3 for all the blocks at all the times. And that's why the name node is keeping busy itself in order to just monitor the overall file system in terms of data to file to block mapping and block reports. It will scan and try to see that if all the blocks are in ample copies or mandatory replication factor 3 copies and across the file system or across the data node. Now this data node DN1, DN2, DN3, DN4, the number of data nodes could be 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000. It may go up to 10,000 data nodes with 500 GB of hard disk, 500 GB of RAM, with 50 terabyte of hard disk, with around 60 cores of CPU or 50 cores of CPU. So each node would be very, very large in its capacity, and there could be 10,000 nodes could be connected. Though nobody has reached till that level, you mostly will, being administration, you can go with minimum 10 or 15 nodes of cluster to around 200 to 500 nodes of cluster you need to manage. Okay, so why I told you this, because this is the basic of things. Okay, so you now need to understand, okay, how the things are getting done, and how this HDFS file system is working under the hood. So this is a writing process. This is more complex than the reading. Now you can come with your questions.
I'm sorry, you said that 10 clusters to 15 cluster maximum with each of 200 to 500 nodes. Did I heard you correctly?
No. 10 nodes to 15 nodes per cluster. I mean, you will either manage only 1 or 2 cluster, not more than that. I mean, even only one cluster.
Understand. My 1 to 3 cluster with each with 10 to 15
10 to
nodes.
15 nodes. So you can have development cluster, you can have QA cluster, you can have Hadoop production cluster.
That depends on the customer requirement.
Yep. That is correct. So you can go up to starting from 10 to 15 nodes to around 500 nodes, 1000 nodes also. So the more the number of nodes, more complicated things you will get in the path, and then that will actually develop your skills and make you more saleable. So this is the writing process. Okay, now you will get some basic idea about how the fault tolerance will be done. Okay, and what is the why the block size is 128 MB, why the replication factor is 3, what is the FS image, that is file system image, and how it does keep the mapping between the data and file. So this is very well, if you see, this is just like a block, this is just like a basic file system only. Though in the basic file system we are just working on the single machine, here we are actually working on the multiple set of machine together to form a single entity. That's it, nothing else. So okay, yeah, so now this is the writing process. Now the reading is just the reverse one of it. Okay, so I will just tell you quickly the reading process, and I will just change the color this time to green. Now again, suppose this data.txt already got written into the cluster, and now client will expect it to read anytime whenever it wants. So what we will do again, client will connect to name node and get the information about that. Client will tell the name node, it will be like kind of authentication check, and everything will be done by the name node over the client. The client will be able to communicate to the name node at the first place, just like it is having all the proper credentials like user ID, password, or some SSH keys. Everything will be there. So client is now get authenticated on the name node, and now name node will ask client, sir, how can I help you? So client will say that, sir, I want to read data.txt, okay, that I had written some times back, and I want to read it so that I can just go through the content of it. So name node say, okay, no issues. So just tell me the file name. So file name would be told by the client to name node data.txt. Now it will scan its FS image and try to find out, okay, so data.txt is having 2 blocks, block 1 and block 2, right? It means that block 1 and block 2, the block 1 and block 2 data needs to be sent to client. So what it will do is, again, for this block 1, it will create a pipeline, and it will again provide the data node, let's say 1, data node 3, because there the copy of block 1 and data node 4, dn4, right? Now whichever is the nearest, client can just talk to that data node and read the block 1 copy. Okay, so let's say in this case data node 1 is nearest, so this block 1 copy will be, let me just circle it around from here to here. Okay, so this block 1 copy will be delivered to the client through data node 1. Okay, and now it will ask for the second data node, second block. I mean, say once this block 1 will be like either cached or being delivered to the client, then the second copy of the block will come. And again for the second copy, name node will build the pipeline, and the again data node 2 and data node 2, data node 3 and data node 4 will be there. 2, data node 3 and data node 4 will be there, which is hosting the block 2 copy. So the data node 2 is nearest, so it will just deliver the block 2 copy to it, and then client has read his file back from the HDFS directory. That's it, nothing else. So it is quite simple than the writing process. It need not to communicate with every data node. Whichever it finds the nearest or suitable, basically it will just read the data block from that particular file, that particular data node, and then reconstruct it file to the actual content, and then that's it. So this is how the reading and writing process works.
How come the customer knows which data node is the nearest?
That's what actually it try to first ping all the data nodes that is in their list, and then it will try to see that, okay, it will just try to see that from which it has got the response, back fastly. Because it is ultimately it is all over the network. It may happen that some remote node send the ping faster than some nearest data node that is busy with some other activity and could not reply the ping faster. So it is again like kind of some confusion with the client, but ultimately it will get its copy back.
That's okay. I just want to understand that.
Yeah.
You said the ping is there.
Yes,
so
yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is the reading and writing, and this is what is called Hadoop distributed file system. Okay, it is actually managing the things. So now data.txt will be created under the directory under the hood. I mean, though we have directly taken the example of file, but this file will be written in some folder kind of a structure, or some directory would be there. Okay, replication factor will happen on the block level, not on the file level. It means that data.txt will not be replicated thrice. It is the block of the data.txt that will be replicated thrice. Okay, so these are some basic understanding of Hadoop distributed file system. Any questions as of now?
No, nothing.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Oh wait, so let me stop it.